I may not be doing a fitness session today, but I tell you what, you get to that last slide before you come on, and even after 16 years in the business and many times standing up presenting, my heart still does this. Boom, boom, boom. So thank you, Chris, for a lovely introduction, and maybe just to tell you guys a little bit about myself, because some of you won't know me. My name is Lucy, and I've been with Forever now for 16 years. Actually, I celebrated my 16th birthday. Well, I didn't actually. I celebrated my 49th birthday on October the 15th, which was also my 16th year with Forever. And my background was that I used to run my own business as a personal trainer, and I absolutely loved it. I used that as a method to escape the corporate world, because I was fed up of all the travelling I was doing around the UK. And when Forever came into my life, I had started a family, I'd gone part-time, and because I dropped my hours, I dropped some of my income. And I was kind of trying to figure out what could I do with a personal training business where I could earn a few £100s a month extra, but not have to put any more time into it, because Ben was only a year old and I was kind of running myself ragged anyway as it was. And it was quite by chance, just through one of my clients that was working with Forever, that I came across the opportunity, and really all I saw was £200 a month. Again, that's a slight lie, because I saw the big incomes and I thought that looks amazing, but A, it's not for someone like me. And B, actually I was still in the throes of building up my personal training business, because I'd actually relocated areas, so I was busy trying to grow a business, doing that as well. So that was actually my dream, to keep building that business. And that was great. And working with Forever, you know, I got that extra £200-300 a month. After a few months I got to supervisor. I was quite scared of talking to people. This didn't faze me. I was quite used to presenting, as you can imagine, teaching the class and in my old corporate world, but actually speaking to somebody about a product, let alone the business, really filled me with fear. And in fact, I went over to the product centre earlier and they ask you your ID, which I can just reel off. And I said, you know, that's because we used to have to phone up the orders. You couldn't do it online. So, you know, you remember your ID. And I used to be scared to phone up to place an order. So I was pretty rubbish. So where was I going with all of this? So I got to supervisor, mostly through some retail. And then I sat for a long time at supervisor. And this really was because my fear of picking up the phone and speaking to people was holding me back. But I think you get to a point in your Forever journey where you kind of just get really frustrated of saying you're going to achieve it and not. And that married up with the fact that I really needed it to work, because we were always sort of struggling for money, because at the end of every month I was just juggling finances. And as a PT, there's always a limit on your income, because there's only so many hours in the day. And again, I was thinking, can I employ people, and trying to grow it that way. And I thought, what am I doing? There's a business model here that works. Why don't I utilise that business? So it was 16 weeks. I went from supervisor, I was probably doing about 17 case credits as a supervisor, and within 4 months I was doing 72 case credits and I was a manager, and my first manager check was about 1,314, just about £1,314. I used to remember the pence, but I can't anymore. And that's really when everything changed. But I cannot tell you the importance of consistency, because one of the reasons why I didn't get to manager is because I was doing enough for it to be uncomfortable, making enough calls that I was doing something, but never enough to get that plane off the runway. And what I'm going to show you are some prospecting methods and how to bring it together. But I wanted to tell you that little story because actually I got to manager on my Who Do You Know list. I remember sitting, thank you. It works! And I remember sitting, is this on? Not on, it's on. She said to me, you're going to jump around, doesn't it? I'll try not to. I remember sitting in my first planning meeting, and I went actually with a reasonable list, because I had all my clients. I had an Outlook list on my email, you know, from people that I'd worked with over the years, but I was actually too scared to talk to any of them. So I had a big list, but just wouldn't speak to any of them. And so I committed to speaking to 15 people a week. My goal was actually to book 10 business sort of presentations with people each week, and invariably quite a few would cancel. But one of my first team members was my sister, so I had friends, family, so my sister joined. Sounds a bit sad, I didn't really have that many friends, because a lot of my friends were kind of people, acquaintances through work. So I did speak to some of my clients about the business, a couple of people joined. I had one lady joined I was terrified of talking to, because she was a six-figure income earner. I found her terrifying anyway when she was a client of mine a few years ago. So she wasn't somebody I knew currently, hadn't spoken to her for a long time. And when I called her, she was just about to get on a plane to go to Germany, because that was her lifestyle. Sunday night, off to Germany, Friday night, come home. But she joined. And that journey to manager, Ashley and a couple of other people have talked about, it's about building supervisors. So if you can do it, you can help somebody else do it. So how I got that growth in the case credits is she went supervisor, and then somebody else did a base month for supervisor, which we'll look at. But they're all people that I knew. And then a bit of networking. So I did actually go to networking for my PT business. So they were like work, you know, we say like friends, relatives, occupation. So I worked by myself as a PT. I didn't work in a gym, so there wasn't a gym manager I could approach or another work colleague. But I did have people I knew through business networking. I had my clients, they were kind of my work colleagues. So I can't remember where I was going with that, with the networking, but people from, networking events. Oh, that will come back to me later on. Oh, I know where I was going with it. If you don't know enough people, go and do something where you'll meet some like-minded people. And actually, that's how my sponsor met me, because she came to a class. But my other supervisor was somebody that I went to a fitness professionals convention weekend, and I budded up with this girl. And you know, we kind of swapped numbers, and I prospected her about the business. So it's about developing your Who Do You Know list and adding people on, so that you never, like Claire said, you never run out of people to talk to. So whether that's doing events and tables, whether that's networking through your sort of social media network and using that, whether that's giving out cards, flyers, other things that we've got on the list here, contact marketing, which I'm still terrified of. I'm not bad at a bit of 3-foot rule if I'm at the checkout. Yeah? And I just started to go, oh, do you mind if I give you my card? And they normally go, oh, what's this then? It's always just I run a business from home and we're looking for really good people like you. And if they look interested, all I say is, well, obviously you're really busy and I've got to get on. Why don't we just swap numbers and I can give you a call? And they write their information on a receipt. So I've got a girl that I'm chatting to at the moment. I do know her surname now, but she's just Emma from Lidl. So yeah, cards and flyers, contact marketing, reconnecting with people you used to speak to. So actually, I've got a chap that's just registered with me that I did speak to years ago that I went to university with. So I'm 49 now, so I graduated when I was, 21. We both did engineering together, but we've stayed in touch because we reconnected on Facebook. I spoke to him about the business years ago, wasn't for him. Spoke to him about the business. No, I didn't. I spoke to him about the collagen because I know he likes to look after himself. And so he's been a collagen customer. So he's actually joined because he loves the collagen, he loves the gel. So it's reconnecting with people. You could do talks at groups, customers, make great team members. Goodness me, speak to your customers. I got lucky a couple of weeks ago, kind of lucky, because I committed to put some cards through doors. And I normally get one in 100, for every 150 cards I put out there, I'll get a call. And I was working on thinking, I know Carol lives here, just going to put it through her door. A customer of mine, hopefully she won't notice I've gone past, and I get a message. Lucy, that recruiting card that's just landed on my doorstep, is that selling your forever stuff? And I said, yes, it is, as well as the coaching, Carol, because you do some life coaching as well. Anyway, long story short, she joined, but I should have spoken to her anyway, because she was on my Who Do You Know list, and she likes the products. So I said I got lucky, and then referrals. So I did have a referral from a customer, actually, was somebody who joined my team when I went manager. So it's just all these different elements. You don't have to do everything, just pick 2 or 3. It does look to there. But just don't waste your Who Do You Know list, because you've already got that trust with people. It's quicker to get people around the cycle because you don't have to, it's that way for you, isn't it? Build that trust. Spot the instructor. We can do left and right. You don't have to spend money on buying cards. You don't have to spend an hour delivering, 120, 150 cards. You don't, and to get one phone call, and you have to speak to 20 of those ones to get somebody to join. You've got that list there already. So that's why I use my Who Do You Know list, because I was terrified of talking to anybody, let alone people I didn't know. So, in fact, I used to be, I still do have to force myself a bit to put cards through doors. So sometimes you just have to step out of every time you have to step out of your comfort zone, but the more you do, and the more consistent you are, the easier it gets. And I know I've heard Diana talk about this. It's a bit like taking driving lessons. You know, if I have one lesson every month, just one a month, every time you get in the car, you have to learn everything. It's all new all over again. Whereas if you do, 2 lessons a week, I don't know, 10 weeks, 6 weeks, you'll pass your test. If you can get a test, because you have to wait 6 months. So consistency, but don't walk past your who do you know list, because somebody like me might pop a car through their door. Yeah, somebody like Claire might contact them on Facebook. So use your who do you know list, because if you don't, we will. Or we might find them, should we say. So to get to supervisor, it's 25 case credits over 2 months, which to me felt like an absolute mountain. Particularly when it took me so long to do 4cc. But my journey was slow, but do you know what, I didn't do 4cc for 7 months, but the reason was, my attitude was, if I do a bit, I'll learn a bit. If I don't, I won't. So I didn't do very much. So I didn't do 4cc because it wasn't a goal and it wasn't on my plan. But if you plan it out, we're going to show you a good base month. So you've got 2 months to qualify for any of the positions. You can do it faster, like Ashley did it in 5 weeks. A base month is the first month, and the qualifying month is like the one that gets the extra case credits to get to the 25. So if you did 8 in your first month and then do 17 case credits in your second month, the magic should add up and it comes to 25. I think I did 13 and then went over. I did 14 in my second month. So that's what you're aiming for. Let's show you what slide's next. And take a photo or a note. Some of you will have been familiar with a volume map before, because to get to anything you need to have a plan. The case credits aren't miraculously going to come out of nowhere unless you know what activity you're going to do. And you don't have to do everything, but you're going to be using the products. So obviously be your own best customer, and then you'll know what you love, and then it's easy to recommend things on. We've got things, obviously we've got Christmas coming up, so buying gifts for other people, asking other people to get you gifts from your Forever Shop for you if there are things that you haven't yet experienced or that you really love, you just love to get as a Christmas present, because there's no CCs in socks, remember? You've got your repeat customers. So you might be really new and not have many repeat customers, or you might have a really good repeat customer base, but you just pop in there. So you can see you've got a worst case and a best case. So I heard a phrase which is like, worst case would be the absolute worst, even if the roof flies off your house this month. You still know that you will do your worst case scenario. That's like non-negotiable. But if you follow all the activity, best case scenario could be the high. So you've got repeat could be a half and 1, because it could be maybe only a few of your repeat customers buy again this month. Maybe they forgot to take their aloe for a couple of weeks. So they don't need it yet this month. And that happens to all of us. We've got some customers absolutely, they wouldn't miss it for a day, and then some like, oh no, I forgot to take it for a few days. So that's why you've got the best and the worst case. You could be doing some online launches, so either the Zoom launches like Claire was talking about, you might do a live launch. I had a lovely live launch the other week. I'll show you that. I'll show you the live launch bit in a minute. But I had 10 people. 10 people came? 9 people came. 9 people came, and I took £500 at a live launch, which is 2 case credits. So I would have hit an almost best. But I would say generally a half to 1 cc from a launch, or 1 to 1.5. You'll know what you do. It depends how many people you've got coming and who you've invited. You could be getting behind the C9. You could be doing experience packs, so you're just sort of filling in what outcome you expect from those activities that you do. So I don't know, a case credit is £280, isn't it, something like that? So if you think that from one experience pack you'd only get £28 per person, which is like a propolis cream and a deodorant and a lip balm, and you did that 10 times in the month, you get 1 cc, because 10 28s is 1. So your sponsor will help you with, roughly what the activities will give you. What I do know is if you say you do a live launch and then you don't do it, or if nobody turns up and you don't book in another one to replace the one that didn't happen, you're not going to end up with your worst case. And the other thing I know, because I've done this, is that you write your volume map at the beginning of the month, like a good student, and then you don't look at it for the whole month. And then you get to the end of the month and think, well, how did I only end up on 1.5? Or 2 days before the end of the month, oh my goodness, I've got 3 case credits to go to hit my goal. So it should be a working plan. But then on top of that, you've got your prospecting. So, do you know, I haven't even looked at how much time I've got. Will you flash me? Edit that off the recording. So, if you're sponsoring, how many people do you want to recruit? Do you need to recruit to achieve your goal for that month? So, if we followed those statistics of speak to 20 people, 1 joins, and you want to recruit 1 person in the month, you could think, well, I only need to speak to 20 people in the month. But the reality is it can take a while for people to get round the cycle. So sometimes people join quite quickly, sometimes, within a week of you first speaking to them, or even a couple of days. Sometimes it could take 4 weeks or 6 weeks. So it's knowing your numbers again, like Diana talked about, whether you're going to recruit 1 person, so that's 2 cc for their starter pack, or whether it's going to be 3 people. Yeah? And then you plan it down in a bit more detail. So you've got your goal, your why, what do I want? Let's say it's supervisor. We know to do that in November, so you need to do that by the end of December. November should be the base month, which is 8 to 10 cc. I'm going the wrong way. I reckon this way works better, doesn't it? The goal, supervisor. Base month for November, 8 to 10 cc. And we say, right, where's the 8 to 10 come from? Which is this. Yeah, you probably fall somewhere in the middle, so we've got 7 to 16. And then, because a month is a long time, it's about just having a weekly to-do list, which we call the 7-day plan. So on your 7-day plan, you've got those in your first steps to manager. So you've got one that looks pretty much like this, and a blank one. So you can print out some extra sheets. You're just writing down what you said on the volume map that you need to do this week to make it happen. So if you're going to do 4 experience packs in the month, how many are going out this week and who they're going to? Who do you need to speak to this week to get them out next week? If you're doing 2 launches, what dates are they? And does that need to go on this week? If you're doing a launch next week, you need to be inviting people this week, so that goes on the retail. So the retail's here on the right, so we're kind of going backwards to come forwards. But we're kind of working down the volume map, yeah? So inviting people to the launch, experience packs, all the retail stuff goes here, but the devil is in the detail. So what I do with my 7-day plan is I actually staple a month's worth together, because the other thing I used to do, as well as doing the volume map and never looking at it, is write the 7-day plan and lose it within about a day. So I do find that having four of them together does make it easier not to lose, but also if I'm trying to get hold of a prospect, say, and I tried them on Monday and I try them again on Wednesday and then a couple of times on Thursday, I'll take their name off this week and then turn the page over and put it on the following week. So I'm already starting to fill next week's plan. So you've got your retail activity. So I've got here collagen, Tessa. So I had to speak to Tessa about whether she needs another collagen. Pick up experience pack from Lee. Book launch for 4th of October. Ooh, this is an old one. Draw the winner from the prize draw. Follow up with Elaine with the aloe drink. Contact Shona about the aloe. And then also with some of my stuff, I love a list now. And then these were my invites for my launch for the 4th of October. So I think I heard someone say this earlier. It was on a different training. I write my list of names. I'll tick when I've spoken to them. And then I put a little circle with a yes or a no, so that when I'm checking in with people the day before the launch, I know, who to send a reminder to. And then the ones that didn't, so like Jodie, who couldn't make it, Jodie got an experience pack the next day because I knew she wasn't coming. So your 7-day plan. So on the left, so top right hand retail. I'm going to change tack now. There we go, prospecting. On the left. So you can do it different ways. I like to just have a list of people from top to bottom that we're going to contact. Or you could write down, well, Monday I'm going to call so-and-so, Tuesday so-and-so, Wednesday so-and-so, but put their actual names in. I prefer to just do that in my diary, so I might, under Monday, just write down the ones that I want to contact on the Monday. Because I might try phoning, let's say, on my list, Marie, Angela, Julie, they're my 3 I had down for Monday, and I can't get hold of any of them. So then I just move on to the next 3. So that's Sarah, another Sarah, and Jane, yeah? So although on this example, it's got 3 per day. I would actually recommend, if you want to speak to 15 people in the week, don't just put 15 names on your 7-day plan, because you're not going to get hold of everybody. Somebody might be on holiday, might be a wrong number, might be just they never answer their phone. So have more names here. And then somewhere on here, I would put, if you are doing any carding or anything like that, just put down things like where you're going to do your cards, how many cards are going out, or always be prepared. So with 3-foot rules, have some business cards in your bag and think, right, where are you going this week? What coffee shops are you meeting people in? Or, where have you got to do the shopping? If you've got to go take the kids to the dentist, where could you give your card or leave your card? Because then it puts it more in the front of your mind than the back. The amount of times, and I'm sure it's not me, that I've walked out of somewhere and thought, oh, I should have. If only I had my cards, I should have mentioned it, because it's sort of an afterthought, as opposed to, right, when I go in and let's, just put it out there to the universe. Is there going to be somebody that I'll bump into that I can speak to? Here in this middle section, it's your follow-up. So it could be that you've spoken to somebody 2 months ago and they said, oh, it's all hectic at the moment, can you call me during half term? And that happens to be next week, doesn't it? So they go in the follow-up there. It could be that you've sent a recorded business presentation and you know that you've got to follow up with them this week. So it's just trying to make sure that nothing falls through the net. And then at the bottom here are your training. So what audios are you listening to? Chris talked about Spotify, YouTube, Audible. There's so many things available. And I know Diana has sort of mentioned that some of our trainings, always have one mindset type thing on the go, to boost your mindset, whether it's your affirmations or some kind of book really to help strengthen your resilience. And also one more kind of hard skills. So whether that's, we have GoPro, didn't we, on there, and Tom Barrett, Dare to Dream, Work to Win, something where you can learn some skills, or it could be you've got to catch up with the training. So don't be a training junkie, but just know what you need to do. And that goes on the bottom there. So training events, so if you've got a book, so I had on here, promote Supervisor Plus training. And Steve, who is here, was top of that list of people to promote the supervisor training to. So I'd use that as well for things that I need to do for some of the team. So time, I can't remember who, was it Chris mentioned time? Well, not quite time, as in the time. Like, because we're all busy. I haven't quite come to time yet. The other thing that your 7-day plan helps you with is being effective with your time. And sometimes when you're really busy, you can kind of think, oh, I know what I'm doing. I don't really need to write it all down. So but you can forget stuff. And I think whether you're working full time and you're doing forever alongside, or whether you're doing forever full time, you need to have some kind of 7-day plan. Because when I was really busy working full time, and I was doing this in the pockets of time, the 7-day plan helped me because I knew what I was doing in the pockets of time. But I thought, when I'm working this business full time, I'll be able to do so much more. But the times I don't have a 7-day plan, I get so much less done because I've got all this time. And so, I don't really know, I can just, do the washing now, and it just, you don't get as much done. You're so much more effective if you plan it out and have it all written down in one place. So that's my advice. The goal, supervisor, the base month, 8 to 12. The volume map, where's it coming from? And then the devil is in the detail with the 7-day plan and knowing what you're going to do every week. And do it on a Sunday, latest, Sunday nights, so that you start Monday ready to go and in that right kind of mindset as well. So